possible, when telling a story, I like my story to be interactive with the audience. So, during the course of me telling this story, all of you are going to help me count all the different ways in which I monumentally fuck up in this story. Spoiler alert, it's more than once. A few years ago, I was invited to be best man at my friend Eric's wedding, and I was incredibly nervous about this. Not because I was best man or the responsibilities of that, for guys it's not that big a deal, but because Eric and I went to high school together 10 years ago, and this was just 5 years ago. After high school, Eric moved to Springfield, Missouri to go to graduate school for clinical psychology, and I moved to Chicago to suck at improv. Two very divergent paths that we took. We hadn't even lived in the same state for 5 years. I'm like, I'm not going to know anyone there except for him, his brother, and his fiance. And at the time, his fiance fucking hated me because I sucked at improv, partially. Fucking hated me, so I'm like, I'm not going to enjoy this at all. I sincerely thought about not going, just because I didn't know what I was going to do. About 3 weeks before the wedding, my cousin Joe called me up. Joe's my age, we grew up together, and he is crying. He's still crying into the phone. His girlfriend that he had been living with for quite some time had just walked out on him. And it was that kind of thing, like, he came home and all her shit was gone, and now her shit was dead. So he is just devastated. And my bright idea was, this solves both of our problems. Joe, I'm going to Springfield, Missouri. I'm going to drive through St. Louis. I can pick you up. You can come to me with this wedding. You can enjoy the party, the bachelor party, and all that, and get your mind off this. Now, for those who didn't catch that, I just invited my recently very heartbroken cousin to come to a wedding to forget about his heartbreak. So at this time, I'd like everyone in the room to hold up to number 1. So you can find my first fuck up. So I go through St. Louis, I grab Joey, we go down there, and immediately my fears are alleviated because Eric and I pick up right where we left off. All of us groomsmen are really great guys. I'm immediately hanging out with these guys like I've known them for fucking years. So I'm having such a great time that I don't notice that Joey is emotionally imploding the entire trip. The first thing we do when we get there is try on tuxes. So, yeah, that's how that went. That was the first day. We tried on tuxes, so he gets to watch me try on tuxes and all that. I wasn't trying to be callous, I just didn't notice. The second day was rehearsing. So we go to church. We're not dressed up, but the women have veils on, they have flowers, guys, we're all in nice button-down shirts. And we're going through the motions, we go through the church, and at one point we notice, where's Joey? I have no idea where he is. To this day, I don't know where he hid it. And eventually, after we're done, we all start filtering out because we're supposed to go to rehearsal dinner at some pizza place in downtown Springfield. But me and one other guy stayed behind to find Joe, and eventually, he walks out of the church. His face is all red. His eyes are still watering. He's crying, he's holding his phone. Like, just devastated. He's like, man, I just talked to her. I talked to her for 45 minutes. I think it's done. I think that was it. I gotta talk to her, man. I gotta go back. I gotta call her again. My response to this, which I said not out of callousness, but out of genuine obliviousness of what was happening, was, well, hurry the fuck up. I want to go eat. He goes back out, comes back out. By the way, that's number 2. Everyone, number 2. My fuck-ups of the strip. We go to rehearsal dinner. Rehearsal is fine. No real incidents there. The next morning, I kind of noticed that he was sluggish and a little out of it, but he also smoked a lot of pot. So I thought that was that. I didn't really think of it beyond that. Then came time for the bachelor party. The big bachelor party that everyone was talking about. We go to a strip club, which was horrible. Up until that night, I did not know there was such a thing as a bad strip club, but apparently there are. And they're in Springfield, Missouri. And they are horrible. So we only stayed there for about 45 minutes to an hour. How bad does a strip club have to be for 20 bachelors at a bachelor party and be like, nah, fuck this, I'm out. Done. So after about an hour, we all go to this bar, downtown Springfield. It's a college bar. And they had a banquet table set up. Not for us, it just happened to be there, and since there was 20 of us, we took it over. So I'm sitting in the middle, Joey's sitting across from me, Eric's on my left, and the rest of the groomsmen and other guys are sitting all around us. Now, Joey's not an alcoholic, but he does have a big drinking problem, which I'm aware of. But I wasn't thinking about it because I was having such a great time. So as soon as we walked in the door, I turned to Joey, I'm like, Joey, drink it up, it's the bachelor party, it's what you're supposed to do. And that's number 3. Number fucking 3. So we all sit down and everybody's drinking. I'm best man and I'm the responsible one, so I'm staying sober. I'm doing the right thing. And everyone else is drinking. And what happens is what happens whenever you get multiple people of the same gender and alcohol in the same setting. We start talking and bitching about our girlfriends and ex-girlfriends or whomever. My ex-girlfriend's a bitch, blah, blah, blah. My girlfriend's a whore, or whatever. This, that, and the other. I'm not drunk, but I'm sure I joined in the conversation at one point. And I remember I was looking at Eric, and I heard the glass slam down on the table from across from me. Joey had slammed down his glass and goes, "You want to talk about bitch ex-girlfriends?" Very good. My ex-girlfriend's a bitch. And I have a video of us going at it, and I'm going to put it on exgirlfriendsorbitches.com. And as he says this, he starts pulling out his phone. So I actually remember having the mental thought of, hey, Joey's pulling out his phone after saying he has a video of him and his girlfriend going at it. No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be like a cartoon or something stupid. We're going to call that 4. And since I didn't even act on that notion, fuck it, let's call it 5. Because I did not stop him, and I watched as he got out his phone. That was one of those, started showing people. This side audience is me. I'm Joey. I'm watching as he starts doing this to the guys on that side of the table. And I watch as all the guys he shows one by one go from laughter to the joke to confusion about what they're seeing to the disgust about what they're seeing to look at me like, aren't you the guy that brought this fucking So one by one, all these new friends I had made, Eric was the only one I knew, and his brother were the only 2 guys I knew before this. All of them are looking at me like, what the fuck's your problem to bring this guy? Eventually, Joey whips his phone around and shows me. It is a video from this perspective of him getting what could be described as a very loving blowjob from his girlfriend. And he is very laughing, showing me this video. Like, I don't want to see that. My cousin. It took me several tries to wrestle the phone away from my drunken cousin. I actually had to come across the table to do it. Here's the moral of my story. Every now and then, it's a good idea to just stop and take notice of what you're doing in life. Because if you do not pay attention, and you make some wrong choices, 5 in particular that I can think of, you might accidentally see your cousin's dick.